Test 1. Identify these plants. Yellow flower, pink flower, dandelion, tree, smaller tree, pine tree, bush, shaky bush, long bush, pointy bush, decorative trees, purple bush, strawberries, roses, but not the store roses, the like shaggy roses, dead tree, and a normal tree. What do you think? Did I fail the test? A little bit sad, but I live in a city. I don't need to know about oaks or birches or whatever. I mean, I was writing this and I couldn't even spell the word oak. It took me like 5 tries. I mean, why is there an A in there? I don't even know. Anyways, I live in a city. This is Montreal. It's got cool streets, buildings. Look at this one. And here, and there's fun cafes and shows to go to. I don't need to know about plants. My job has nothing to do with plants. I'm not a farmer. I don't have a green thumb. This is actually one of my houseplants, which I realize is totally unacceptable. I've been meaning to repot him, but it's been a thing. I have to find a proper pot. This pot is not going to work. And this is my chaos garden. And I planted these seeds. I put them in. And I don't even know what it's called. It doesn't matter. I'm busy. I have places to be. I do recognize that without plants, my world would be very sad. But there's just not time in the day to think about plants. When I go for a walk, this is my general view. And most days, I just am walking here in front of the screen and I look at this painting of a plant. My sister made this. She's very good. I think I'm like most city dwellers. I enjoy plants. I'm glad they're there, but I know nothing about them. If one was to go extinct, I wouldn't notice. If the world order collapsed and I had to fend for myself, I wouldn't know what plant I could eat and what plant would give me like terrible diarrhea. I wouldn't know. I don't even know what poison ivy looks like. I'm nature illiterate, basically. I live in front of a screen and the outside world is a question mark. The person that made me recognize my nature deficiencies was my dad. He lives out west, and a few years ago he came to visit me in my new Montreal place. And during the first day of his visit, I decided to take him for a stroll. We went to the fancy neighborhood nearby, and I wanted to show him the nice houses. There's lots of really cool big brick houses, and I wanted to show off these houses. So we're walking down the street looking at the houses when suddenly my dad stops and he points and he says, "Wow, look at that tree." And he knew what type of tree it was, and he happily gushed about it for a few minutes. And he did that a number of times during his visit. "Oh, look at that tree. Look at that one." He was really into the Montreal trees. And it made me realize that I never really looked at the trees in my area. I've always walked past them with my focus on the human-made things. And it's a bit of a shame because Montreal truly has some beautiful trees. Once Dad pointed them out, I actually started to notice how big, how expressive, and how very beautiful the trees are. After his visit, I tried to make a point of looking at the trees I walked past. The twisty ones, the holy ones, the spiky ones. Boing! Look at that elbow. Hello? Where are you going, Branch? There's so much character. They're so interesting. My walks went from this to this. And that was a pretty big improvement. Then a few years after that, my husband and I were trying to figure out where to go on vacation. And we're not very good at planning vacations. And so we were doing it last minute. And we didn't want to spend a bunch of money. on a trip. So we thought it might be fun to take a course. So we went onto the internet and we were looking up courses. And eventually one course caught my eye. It was a survival course. And as a fan of Survivor, yes, Survivor is an awesome show. I was like, yes, let's go hang out in the woods and learn how to survive a zombie apocalypse. You know, that would be amazing. Very cool. So sign me up. And off we went to Ontario. And the course was really neat. We learned how to start fires and build shelters. But my favorite activity was when we walked in the forest and learned about the different plants and how you could use them for survival.
Sweet fern. It's good for tea. Apparently mints have square stems. Can't find one right now, but apparently it does. Jewelweed. For bug bite.
Scrape it and you put it in tea, add it as a flavor.
Oh man, it was interesting. The guide was very knowledgeable, but there was also this lady taking the course. And when I met her, I was starstruck. She was in her 70s, and she was a top-level plant identifier. I know this because she knew about mushrooms. You have to know what you're talking about when you're into mushrooms. She knew everything about plants and their uses. She had a 6-pack set of abs, so jealous, and the last night, she literally went away from the group, borrowed a shelter next to a rock, and survived the night on her own. And it was freezing cold, and there were wolves howling all night. I mean, she was really badass, and I was like, yeah, I want to be like that lady. There's just something magical about people who know about nature. I think it's because most people don't have a clue, and yet we all know that our lives depend on the health of the natural world around us. Fast forward to now, I found myself with 2 free summer months. The weather is nice. I'm sick of being in front of a screen. How cool would it be to run around and get to know some trees? Can this clueless city girl learn about plants in 2 months? Can she go from this to this? Can she become a badass lady with a 6-pack set of abs who sleeps with wolves and eats mushrooms? Stay tuned to find out, and perhaps these videos will encourage you to be like my dad and go, wow, look at that tree.
Hello, little guy. Why are you coming so close? What you doing? Hello?